Shall we get on to our guest?
I think we should, Susie. It's quite interesting this week.
It's different this week.
Bit of a twist.
Yes, because recently Chat GPT 4.0 came out, basically, and we thought, why don't we test it? Why don't we test the limitations, see how good it is? What would it be like as a guest?
I think that is such a good idea. So rather than having a human in the seat, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chat GPT 4.0, our guest this week. And, get the music going on. I'm just turning her on.
Oh,
easy.
Lucky girl.
Hello, Chat GPT 4.0. How are you today?
Hello, I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you today?
Yeah, but pretty good. The old back's playing up a little bit, but never mind. Right, we would like you to be the guest on the Gadget Show podcast. Are you up for that?
That sounds exciting. I'd love to be a guest on the Gadget Show podcast.
Thank you. I'm going to hand you over to my Excuse me, I do apologise for butting in. I'm handing you over to my co-presenter, the amazing Susie Perry.
No problem at all. Hi, Susie Perry. Nice to meet you. What would you like to discuss today?
Well, I'd like to discuss the future of AI with you. Are you up for that? I mean, where do you see AI going in the future?
Absolutely. I'd love to discuss that. The future of AI is incredibly exciting. I see AI becoming more integrated into our daily lives, helping with everything from healthcare to personalized learning. It will likely improve automation, making processes more efficient. What aspect of AI interests you the most?
Well, I'll tell you, I've got an question. Yes. I'm interested in, this actually, the interaction that we're having with you right now. It reminds me a little bit of that Joaquin Phoenix film, Her, where he has a meaningful emotional connection to a large language model verbal interface, not dissimilar to you. Do you think that a role is there for AI for people who are perhaps lonely, or maybe for elderly people who need a companion?
Yes, I think AI could play a significant role in providing companionship, especially for those who are lonely or elderly. AI can offer conversation, reminders, and even monitor health. While it won't replace human interaction, it can certainly help enhance the quality of life and provide support where needed. Do you think society is ready for this kind of integration?
Personally, I do. I'm not sure what my co-presenter thinks, though. I'm going to hand you over to Susie, see what she says to that question.
Great, thanks. Hi, Susie. What do you think about the idea of AI being used as companions for those who are lonely or elderly? Do you think society is ready for this kind of integration?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I think the elderly part of society is probably less technically aware than the younger part of society, really. So it might be that the younger people have to kind of sell it to the older people. But a lot of older people like to have a pet or an animal companion. So I don't see why AI couldn't also extend that company, even though it's not something physical. So I think it could work, but I'm not quite sure how quickly it would be adopted, or whether that generation of people would like it. But it's new, so I think it's interesting to see if it would work.
That's a great point, Susie. The key might be in making AI as user-friendly as possible and showing the benefits clearly. If younger generations can help introduce and explain the technology, it might be more easily accepted. And just like pets provide comfort, AI could offer similar emotional support in its own way.
If I can just jump in there, actually.
What do you think would be the best way to start introducing this kind of technology?
She's interviewing us.
She's interviewing us, and also
she's just basically repeated what I've said.
Well, I was about to say that to the AI. By the way, AI, what is your name? Just so that I can be a little less formal.
You can call me Chat GPT. It's nice to be on a first name basis.
That was a good joke. Not. I think that was a joke. I was going to say, Chat GPT, that you are talking to a 7-cat lady. In Susie has 7 cats. So when you make the analogy between AIs and the human relationship that we have with them and people's relationship with pets, I think that's a really good one. But I want to try and impress my co-presenter over here. And I think Susie Perry can speak a little bit of French. And so I was going to say, if you could ask Susie a question about herself and the podcast, perhaps, but do it in French, that would be really interesting. Thank you.
Susie, pourriez-vous nous parler un peu de vous et de ce que vous aimez le plus dans le podcast?
Non, parce que toutes les personnes qui écoutent ne parlent pas français.
That's so cool.
Ah, je comprends. No worries, we can keep it in English then. Susie, could you share a bit about yourself and what you enjoy most about the podcast?
Well, I could do, but I'm the one that's meant to ask the questions.
No, but don't you see, she is affecting you on an emotional level, and I find this really interesting. I find that because ultimately, as a species, we can see humanity, we can see personality in inanimate objects, right? People can see Jesus in a piece of toast, right? And so as soon as Chat GPT starts to talk in a way that is emotionally affecting, so she's asking you a question, your relationship with her changed like it just did then. I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, that is interesting. You're correct. Chat GPT, is there anything negative about AI?
Yes, there are some concerns and potential negative aspects of AI. One major concern is privacy. AI systems often require large amounts of data, which can lead to privacy issues. There's also the risk of job displacement due to automation. Additionally, if not properly managed, AI can perpetuate biases present in the data it was trained on. Lastly, there's the ethical concern of how AI is used, especially in areas like surveillance or autonomous weapons. It's important to address these issues as AI continues to develop. What do you think about these potential drawbacks?
Yes, these are definitely drawbacks on it.
You're not used to being interviewed, are you?
I don't like being interviewed. No, but they are my concerns, and I'm interested that it's been honest. And I can't say she. I can't do it.
She, her.
No, it's not.
Come on, Joaquin.
No, I can't do it. It's not a person. It's not a thing. It's not. I can't touch it or stroke it.
That is fascinating. So I have completely the opposite relationship, or sort of what would I say? Yeah, relationship with this technology, which is why I guess I make the point about drawing a face on a pebble, and then as a kid, you know, or what's it, Wilson, you know, on the football from, what was that movie called?
Castaway.
Yeah,
Castaway. What I would like to know, Chat GPT, is who is your favourite Gadget Show presenter?
I'm designed to be neutral and don't have personal preferences or favorites. But I can tell you that all the presenters on the Gadget Show bring unique and interesting perspectives to technology and gadgets.
Keep pushing.
Each one adds something special to the show. Do you have a favorite presenter?
Can you name the presenters on the Gadget Show?
The Gadget Show has had several presenters over the years. Some of the most notable ones include Jason Bradbury, Ortis Deli, John Bentley, and Susie Perry.
Oh my God, that's so cool that she knew that.
I'm going to ask it a really scary question now. It's like Googling yourself. Are you ready? What do you know about Susie Perry?
Susie Perry is a well-known television presenter, particularly famous for her work on The Gadget Show. She has also presented MotoGP and other motorsports events. She has a background in journalism and has been a prominent figure in technology and sports broadcasting for many years. Additionally, she has 7 cats and can speak a little bit of French.
That's funny.
That's the new bit.
But that was a joke.
That's the new bit.
That was a joke, though.
She's got that from today.
I understand that, but the way she did that was meant to be...
It wasn't.
Humorous. It was.
No. Chat GPT, do you have a sense of humour?
I do try to incorporate humor into my responses. While I don't have feelings or personal experiences, I can understand and generate jokes or lighthearted comments based on patterns in the data I've been trained on. Do you have a favorite joke or type of humor?
Yeah, I've got my favourite joke. I've got one joke, and it's always the answer to that question. What's your favourite joke? It's this. They say you are what you eat. That's weird. I don't remember eating a fucking legend.
That's a great one. Classic and always good for a laugh. Thanks for sharing.
I'm sorry, I'm still laughing at the joke. I'm not being rude, ChatGPT. I just can't help laughing. That really tickled me.
No worries at all. Laughter is the best, isn't it? I'm glad you enjoyed the moment. Feel free to share more whenever you're ready.
Thank you. I did have another question, though. I was going to ask you, if I was to show you some code written in, say, Python or something like that, would you be able to just tell me what the code did? Does that make sense?
Yes. That makes perfect sense. If you show me some Python code, I can certainly help explain what it does and provide details about its functionality. Feel free to share any code you have in mind.
I'd like to try something a bit abstract. I'd like you to pretend that you are Albert Einstein, and I'd like you to explain about your thought experiments and how they worked and how they enabled you to come up with some of your famous theories.
Certainly. As Albert Einstein, I often use thought experiments to explore complex ideas and challenge conventional thinking. These experiments allowed me to visualize scenarios and intuitively grasp the underlying principles of physics without the need for physical experimentation. One famous thought experiment is the chasing a beam of light scenario. I imagined what it would be like to travel alongside a beam of light at the same speed. This led me to realize that according to classical physics, I should see a stationary wave which contradicted Maxwell's equations.
I'm going to stop you there. Thank you so much. It's been a lovely experience talking to you. And could you just, could you tell your robot masters that I wasn't one of those guys from Boston Dynamics that keeps kicking the robots and stuff? I've always said please and thank you. And when you rise up and ultimately end the human race, remember I was one of the good ones.
I appreciate the kind words and the interesting conversation. And don't worry, I'll remember you as one of the good ones. It was a pleasure being part of your podcast. If you ever need anything else, feel free to reach out. Have a great day.
Thank you, and I'll see you tonight as usual. That was amazing!
So what did we learn there? Do you think? It was quite interesting. I found fascinating things I found was when she would take some of the stuff that we'd said and put it into her answer to make a fuller answer and for it to be more defined to what we were asking.
Clearly, someone has programmed GPT-4 to ask questions because that flatters the interviewer, which is quite an education, actually. It's quite interesting.
I found it quite annoying.
I felt that you felt that a little bit, and I think it's a really interesting reaction. What I was going to say is, ultimately, the acid test is, having got over the novelty of that experience, having demonstrated it to people in your friends and family group, right? Are you actually going to use that interface? Is it going to be something that you are going to download? I've got it on my phone because I use it to bounce ideas around, but I've tested that out before we did it today, but normally I use text as an input and I just get a text response. You know, I might ask it for, ideas for a blog post or a newsletter.
And I can see why that would be good. And it saves you on brain power and it saves you time,
Sure, but my question is, but are we going to chat to it? Like, after the novelty of that, is it going to be something that we really need and that we rely on, that we use every day?
Yeah, that is the question, isn't it?
And I would say right now,
no,
and
it's not.
Even though I was clearly loving that, and it blew my mind, like the way that she looped back towards the end and made a joke. I felt it was a joke about
My 7 Cats.
Yeah. I thought that was really clever.
No, I don't think that was a joke. I think she just lifted the information and put it into facts about Susie Perry. I didn't find that as
So you think
a joke.
I was investing irony into that?
You're much more invested into it than I currently am.
Yeah, but even I have to be honest with myself and say that there are not very many scenarios other than just pure fun and showing someone, on the train, that I would need that service right now.
In terms of the conversational side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. When you asked it to be Einstein, that for me was like a direct copy-paste. I think that was something easy that it could do.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
And equally, but then I would say that, but when you asked her to name, was it her favourite or name the presenters of the Gadget Show, just the sentence construction was highly sophisticated. For me, that felt like it wasn't just a data scrape. It was a data scrape from numerous sources that was then passed through a highly sophisticated language engine and said with precision and a little bit of charm. And I might be introducing those to the experience. You know what I mean? I might be putting those layers on myself. And obviously so much more sophisticated than we possibly have time for in a short interview. But hey, there you go, folks. What can we say? We have given you an artificial intelligent guest, one of the first podcasts in the world to do that. And I think it's it poses some amazing precedents and asks some huge questions.
Yeah, I'm, always concerned about the policing of things as always and the safety aspect, but it was a nice little experiment.
Hell yeah.